Hello.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good. You sound a little different.
Uh, it must be the fatherness in my
Probably.
voice.
Probably. So it would be stereotypical of me to ask what it's like to be a dad. So
Thank
instead,
you.
I'll ask, how are you enjoying House of Leaves?
Not as much as I was when I had all that time in the hospital.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
I
I
now I'm
started
more
rereading part
in.
of it.
I'm finding large portions of time to read and good stopping points because I know that I'm not going to be able to read for several days at whatever point I put it down.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I'm at the fourth expedition, which is very long.
Yes, that's pretty far into the book, though, isn't it? That's like
It's a quarter.
quarter-ish. Yeah, that's a
Well,
little
I mean
ways.
that's including the whole book, not
Yes.
which actually that's not even a good gauge because there's so many pages that like have two words on them. So
hmm Yeah, it's
I
true.
have no idea how it's just like the house. I have no idea how far I am.
Yes, it's smaller on the inside than it is on the outside somehow. So I had a weird thing happen to me today. I I was leaving my house, walking down the street like you do, and there's this car that's like driving really, really slowly through our neighborhood, and it's like a little neighborhood, so cars don't like go speeding through there. But it was like inching along, and this car behind it was like honking at it, and just kind of like slowly turned onto another street that I was on, and it started honking at me, and I'm like, or just it was honking, and I'm like, I'm the only one out here. There's no other cars. You must be honking at me. So I stop, and there's this lady and this kid. He's like a 19-year-old looking kid, and she like said, "Hey, you!" And I think she had a foreign accent, but I don't know. Maybe I was just tired or something. And I'm like, yes, what? And she's like, "We're thinking about renting here. What is your impression of this neighborhood? Should we move here?" Like, what just happened to me? I guess it's like a drive-by, like, bizarro question. So I told her, yeah, you should move here. It's quiet, nice neighborhood. I like living here. Sure.
Yeah, before apps like Zillow existed, people this is what people did.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I get a disproportionately large amount of random people just out in the world asking me
I feel like
things.
you must because I remember vlogs of yours where you're talking about like I've got the universal symbol of don't talk to me now.
I had headphones in
Earbuds
listening
in
to
my
you.
ears.
That, yeah, it happened in Richmond, it's happened in Denver, everywhere. It's not even localized to any particular place.
You must look like the everyman.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I have there's something about me that just draws people to ask me stuff because I don't even tweet or vlog or mention at like all of the different times this happens to me. This is like it's gotten to the point in my life where it's not unusual for this sort of stuff to happen to me. People stop me on the street like all the time. Just ask me questions. Like tourists who are like, "How do you know how to get to wherever?" I was going to this meeting Tuesday before last, and there was this lady who's like, "Am I what street am I on right now? How do I get to the?" And she mentioned this place, and I'm like, "Oh, I know exactly where to get it." And it's like there were hundreds of other people around. Middle of the day, downtown Washington D.C. She could have picked anybody, but she picks me. I don't know why.
Because you're white and non-threatening.
That's true. Um, that's true. But there are
I
other
get a
people.
lot of that stuff too, and I might not even notice it as much because I work like that's my job. Like I
People
answer
ask you stuff.
questions all day and I smile at people and I find myself if I'm in a different grocery store, I'm doing the exact same thing that I do when I walk through my grocery store. Like I'm making eye contact and smiling at people and I feel and then all of a sudden I'm like, why am I doing this? Like I'm not responsible for this store. Why am I walking around trying to make a good impression to everyone?
Just habitual at this point. So,
So be looking for new neighbors soon.
yeah. I mean, I can. I just. I
And
don't
then
know.
when they have a shitty time, they're going to come over to you and be
Don't
like,
blame
"You
me.
told me this was a good neighborhood."
Well, it's like, and it's the. I didn't want to get into it with her because it's like she was a random stranger in a car in the middle of the street and I had places to go. But
And
there
it's
is
not like there's a simple yes or no answer to that question.
no. I wanted to say, like, you're sort of, this neighborhood is on the very edge of the gentrification wave that's coming through to DC. So it's, you might describe it as a neighborhood in transition. And if your question is, are there black people in this neighborhood? Yes, there are black people who live here. It's not a problem. It's that, it's not like you're living in Anacostia or something. It's not dangerous here, but, like, whatever. Did you see the vlog that I posted yesterday?
No, I haven't.
There was I just want, it was really nice outside, and I'd been sitting outside, so I was like, I'm just gonna record a vlog again because it does look nice outside. I had nothing to say, so I was just gonna record a thing being like, hey, can you hear all the birds that are chirping in my neighborhood? And literally the second that I turn it on, this herd of kids starts running down the street, and I took this shot just like tracking them all along the way, and it was like, you guys made a little vlog for me. I hope you thank you. But it was like, I've never even seen that before. I was just like, it was like 15 kids just like, "Rah!" It was fun.
I used to get that kind of stuff in the city. I don't get that out here.
Yeah.
I just get like a random teenager or two walking through my yard, and I want to open the window and be like, hey, you kids.
Get off my lawn. You can say that now.
I can. I won't have to once I put out all the flowers that I've planted because they'll be in the way.
Or they'll step on your flowers.
Or they'll stuff on my flower, and then I'll really freak out.
Yeah. Then I mean, if they're just walking through your yard and they're not like causing any trouble, I would be annoyed by it, but I probably wouldn't necessarily say anything. But if they stepped on flowers, I would like.
Yeah, I wouldn't either because I was that kid.
Yeah, and it's just like whatever. It's no big deal. If they're causing a ruckus, if they're whatever.
There's some kind of hullabaloo.
There is a hullabaloo.
In other words that 80-year-old men say.
Yes, exactly. Some tomfoolery happening. You better get out there and stop it. That Green Lantern thing, I thought that was made up. Did you try to read that Wikipedia article? It is incomprehensible.
I scrolled far enough to find the thing that proved what I said about yellow, and then I was just like, I can't even look at this.
It was like, after the second convergence. I'm like, what the what? This complex history.
The reason I knew about the yellow thing was
in the movie?
I've never seen. Fuck that. Kevin Smith talked about it on one of the earlier Smodcast episodes because he was complaining what I said about like everyone always rags on Aquaman because he had this whole thing about Aquaman, which actually I remember I put on 5 things that someone made a cartoon of it, and he was talking about the Green Lantern is the worst superhero because his story is so lame, and he has the worst weakness, which is the color yellow.
I just opened up this page
and
again.
in their mythology, like everything yellow is rooted in this thing that is his kryptonite.
Yes. So the first, God damn, the first sentence of this, it's just like, it's like I just have to read. The yellow impurity. That's what this is.
Right.
The thing was formed when the Guardians of the Universe imprisoned the fear elemental known as the Parallax entity within the Green Lantern central power battery. It sounds like the Scientology origin myth. It's like, where's Xenu in this? What? This act left the creature of the emotional spectrum dormant and thus ended its reign of terror, but also introduced the yellow impurity within the green light of will. Oh man, and it's like, what?
I never even really heard of Green Hornet until Kevin Smith talked about him. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's a thing. And then when that movie came out, I was like, I can't believe they're making a movie about that idiot.
It was really bad. It was really not good. I've been getting into comics a little bit, and I've picked Marvel, and I'm happy with my choice. DC seems crazy.
Have you given up on cosmicology? What are you doing?
Yeah, I deleted it. I only had bought some things in the Marvel app, and they're still good. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to subscribe for this yearly service called like the Marvel Unlimited Digital Catalog. It's access to like 13,000 of their old stuff. You just don't get to keep them. That's like $60 a year.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Marvel.
I mean, if you're going to do it digitally, you're not interested in buying the books and having them pristine and whatever, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, it's $70 a year. Yeah, and you have access to 13,000 comics. They have their own app for iPad. I've got my Retina iPad, and comics look great on it. And you can save 12 comics in it, so you don't have to be online either. So you can, and 12 is like generally how long an entire arc is. So, and all new comics get added to it within 6 months. So you're not that far off of the mainstream.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's a very smart idea on their part.
Yeah, and I think that it's now much more tempting because Comixology is now all bullshit. And,
what a strange choice.
I just burned that. I felt burned on it too because I had bought some apps in it or some comics in it, and that were not Marvel, that were DC. So Crisis on Infinite Earths, I have the whole series, and I'm like, ugh. Amazon, dumb.
The cat, I had cleared off a spot next to my desk so that when I'm working over here, he could hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And right now that spot is taken up by the plants. And he just found a way to sneak in here, and he's now sitting on top of all of my clone shirts. Because he's like, oh, it's podcast time? I better get ready.
Does he hang out when you podcast?
Every time.
Really?
He hears me talking from wherever I am in the house, from wherever he is in the house, and he comes over, and he looks very uncomfortable right now. I wish I could help him, but I can't move the plants.
Yeah.
He just wants to be close to me. It's adorable.
That is adorable. He likes the sound of your voice.
He said, say hi to Carter for me.
Oh, hi. Did you know the Silver Line is up and working now? I just saw it today.
No, I didn't.
There's new maps in one of the metro cars I was on today, and you can go all the way out to Reston now. Can't get to the airport yet. That's coming in like 4 or 5 more years, but apparently it's up and running and functional.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. You can get to Tyson's Corner now. I hate going into Arlington for any reason whatsoever, but like you can get all the way out there to where the malls are and stuff. So there was some news for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This brought to you by Chevrolet.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.